Former Titan safety Michael Griffin joins us now. Mike, if we had like a freeze pop to give you, what color would you choose?
Ooh, I'm more like a mango or some kind, I don't know, some tropical type flavor.
I was going to say, Mike going exotic,
fancy.
man. You going exotic
Fancy.
flavors.
It's not necessarily fancy. Just when you're here in Texas and, we get up to like 100 and some plus degrees every day, you kind of you got to enjoy all type of freeze pops or snow cones or whatever it is out here in Texas.
Especially with kiddos.
Oh, no question. I have 3 of them. My youngest is 7, so, I'm always dealing with those type of things.
Oh.
Do you miss, training camp's about to hit? Do you miss it?
Oh, not at all. I nothing about football do I miss whatsoever. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Not even season?
Absolutely not.
Whoa, hold on, Griff. You went further than we thought.
I mean, honestly, I loved it when I played it, but again, I think I'm 8 years removed right now.
Yeah,
I am.
You're good.
Yeah, man. It's one of them things that you're just like, yeah. I mean, it was fun while it lasted, but then when you get out of the game of football, I call that bubble. You realize there's other things in life that is enjoyable that you don't get to enjoy while you was playing a game of football. So for me, people ask me all the time, do you miss it? I'm like, no, I miss, my teammates and the guys I, develop relationships and things with that I still contact today and speak to today. But the game of football, getting up every morning and putting some pads on and bumps, the bruises, the surgeries, the neck injury. I mean, I feel it today. So I miss it? Not at all. I don't miss it whatsoever.
But you do miss the guys, so that's interesting. Did you have a locker room that was tighter than others? And did that make a difference in terms of how good the team was?
You know what? It did. You know what? When I first got there, the defense side of the ball was very tight knit. You had guys like Keith Bullock, who's been there for a long period of time. David Thornton. I came in. I was able to play alongside of Chris Hope, who had a lot of experience. Helped me out. Cortland Finken kind of grew together. Jason McCourty, Alteron Vernon, those guys kind of came in, but we kind of had a veteran defense already. It just made things a lot easier when you just had a bunch of staple pieces that you were able to build around. And then, as y'all know, there was a Game of Thrones era of, never knew what the episode was going to bring with somebody. It was just an era of just hey, you love the game, you got paid to play the game and whatnot, but there was a time where you didn't know who the starting quarterback was going to be. I think I went through 4 first-round quarterbacks. Running back wise, I mean, we went through all of those guys also after Chris Johnson era, receiver era. We had some good guys, but, it was just one of them things that, Kendall Wright was a first rounder who ended up leaving after his first 4 years. Nate Washington was a great receiver for us.
Yeah.
Didn't get to finish his career with us.
Kenny Britt was one, right?
Kenny Britt was a heck of a receiver, and you saw what his career ended up being down the road, playing for the Rams and everybody else. But unfortunately, it was just one of them things that, we just cannot just get the pieces right. And then I think 3 general managers, a couple of head coaches, a couple of offensive coordinators, D coordinators, you name it. We went through all of it, just trying to get even with ownership. The unfortunate rest in peace, Bud Adams passed away, but there was time in there before Amy took over that they was trying to figure out that situation. So it was a great time, but at the same, it was a great experience, great time. But I'm glad to see that they got this thing back on track and to see them with a lot of success. And I tell people all the time, I think J-Rob, the best thing he ever did was let me go and got Kevin Byard. So I think it all worked out in a great way. I said that might have been the best firing he ever did.
Come on, man. Michael Griffin, former Titans safety, with us on 3HL.
So you kind of mentioned all the change in ownership and all of that, and then Miss Amy obviously coming in and taking over. Do you still kind of stay in touch, and have you seen the difference in the last couple of years that she's been able to make?
Oh, man, I mean, tremendously. I mean, when she took over, and again, J-Rob and Coach Coach. They did a lot of great things. Vrabel, they did a lot of great things. I was able to do the internship. I mean, just the way he turned that team around. He had the veteran guys like he had Jarrell Casey, who had a great run.
Yeah.
Wesley Woodyard, who was able to be a very strong staple when it came to that linebacker room and being able to teach the younger guys, Brian Arakpo, Derek Morgan. A lot of guys was able to turn around the locker room and the atmosphere on what it was like winning and coming from different cultures and different backgrounds and bring that in. So you just saw the way that Vrabel coached, the way his demeanor was, the way he was. It just the physical nature of the team. You never could count the Titans out. It was one of them things that, the games they weren't supposed to win, they would win, and very convincingly. And they will, Derrick Henry was a big part of that and what he brought, being able to put a running back carrying the ball 25, 30 plus times a game. And when it came down to it, you just never knew when he was going to break that big one, or if he needed to get 2 and 3 yards, he can get the job done. Ryan Tannehill did some great things. Again, just a lot of guys. Corey Davis, when he was there, a lot of guys. Delaney Walker, definitely a guy that I look up to, on somebody who really turned that coach around. A guy who went to the Super Bowl and was able to have some type of Arthur Smith. Again, another guy that was there, offensive coordinator. There's a lot of guys that was able to just help turn this thing around. And so, I wish I was able to be a part of that. I wasn't, but again, you love to see guys that I either got to know or younger guys that were young when I was there to be able to experience those good times like I was when I first got to Tennessee.
Yeah, go ahead,
man. Mike, you talk about a revolving door, and having those guys coming in and out. A lot of guys that you said outside of Nate, were really good receivers, but we're coming in on rookie deals and trying to get established. Now you look around and see where the Titans are today. When you look in the secondary, you got guys that are established. Awuzie coming in. You also got L'Jarius Sneed. Yeah, and you got these guys established with a resume coming in, so it's a little bit different. And the opposite of them, Calvin Ridley is established. Tyler Boyd. Then you got guys like D-Hop. What does that mean to have that stability and that type of experience right there to carry into practice when it comes to iron sharpening iron?
Well, I think especially on the defense side of the ball, I think it's going to make both sides better. When you're able to compete in practice and realize that, hey, this is going to be so much easier when game time comes. You named a lot of guys. Really is a phenomenal receiver. He had some time off, but we saw what he was capable of doing when he came back last year with Jacksonville. The way he runs his routes, the way he practices, the way he does things is what pros do. DeAndre Hopkins, big shout out to him. My son's a very big fan of his. He actually, when we came down for the last year alumni weekend, he was eating, and I was like, man, I don't want to bother you. And he's like, no, it's cool, man. It's for the kids. I really do appreciate that, and I don't think people understand how much appreciating that is. As you fathers, we ain't nothing to our kids as everybody else that are superheroes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That he just didn't realize how much that meant to him and how much he cherished him, and realized, he works extra hard. So I do appreciate him for what he did. Just that little thing of just taking the time away and just showing him. But having a guy like that in the locker room and a winning attitude and can do the things that he does, that he can do and still can do, is phenomenal. Will Levis going into the second year. This first year, I don't ever think that really gives you a tall tale of who you are. We all knew that he came in. People doubt him a little bit, being that he was projected to be a first rounder. Tennessee got him in the second round. And then you come in and, you got Ryan Tannehill, but you also have another young quarterback that is there that can also play. So again, you're trying to, you kind of play a little uptight to not make mistakes, and because at any given time they can pull you out. But again, I think just now, second year, Rand being there for his second year and having a coach that they can both work together. The head coach, again, he's done some great things with Cincinnati with Joe Burrow and Callahan. Again, I think just where they are at and where they're going with it, I'm excited to see this year's team. They put a lot of pieces and puzzles together. I think the draft People may not be highly on the draft picks, but I think they know exactly what they were trying to do. And I think the biggest thing is having a veteran core of wide receivers that can get the job done, that can allow a young quarterback to be able to play more confident, having two running backs that are pretty similar but can do a lot of great things. I think that's a great thing, too, being able to have another outlet. The tight end, I don't want to mispronounce his name, but I think he's still trying to
just call him Chig, Mike.
We just call him Chig.
Chig. I don't want to mispronounce his name. He's still scratching the surface, but again, you've seen glimpses of things that he can do. On the defense side of the ball, I mean, Simmons, I don't know why he doesn't get the recognition. Maybe it's just, the small market team, but he's up there with the best of them. He's definitely can take a game over by himself. And again, if they just allow him to work, allow him to do his thing. Sweat, got to give a big shout out here from Texas. Another guy, 6'4", 6'5". Man, what, 360-something plus pounds. I got to watch him for the last.
They're working on that.
I've been watching for a long time. So
I was gonna say you did some work with Longhorn Network, right?
Longhorn Network. So I got to watch him a lot. So, and I think Coburn is still with Tennessee, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So you can get two Texas guys that I love to see. So, but I think those two guys up front can definitely establish and stop in the run. When you look at what a lot of teams, they say they're trying to get away from it, but a lot of teams still try to stick to it, especially when it gets cold. Having those two big guys up front. Harold Landry, I think he's right there, but I think he still has a lot left that can make some great things happen when it comes to this defense. So
look at you, man.
They got a lot of great pieces, and then I understand Murray. I know he went to OU, but he does look like a creative player. He looks like a creative player. I watched him too when he was at OU. A freak of nature. So I'm really excited to see these young core group of guys come together, and I think Hooker's a great safety. I think they got some great guys there. I think it's just now just trying to put the pieces and puzzles together, and especially with the defensive back coach. I believe it's so maybe who's there right now? D coach. I know I played against him. Play safety. Who's the DB coach for Tennessee right now?
I don't remember. I just
you just brain froze us. We just had popsicles.
I think it's Harris. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's Harris. I think he's still there. I think he's returned from the previous coaching staff. But again, he's a phenomenal guy. That if they listen to him, he's played the game at a very high level. Was a great player when he played. So I think now they got the pieces together. They're able to have OTAs. They're able to start this training camp off healthy. They had a great offseason. There's no off-the-field issues or anything that went going on and things. So I think all that's just a plus to see this team head in the right direction.
Steve Jackson.
Mm-hmm. Steve Jackson.
Yep.
I know Steve Jackson's there, but I thought
Chris Harris is still there. He's coaching corners.
Steve Jackson, former Tennessee, former Oilers. But also when I went through the draft process, I know he was with Atlanta last year, and when I went through the draft process, he was also part of the coaching staff for the Washington Commanders when they had Don Taylor, Fred Smoot, and all those guys. So again, when you say great coaches, staff, guys that have played the game at a high level, but also been around other guys that coach, I think all those pieces and puzzles put together, this team is headed in the right direction.
We Michael Griffin with us on 3HL, former Titan safety, Texas Longhorn. Griff, we were talking earlier today, and I saw this quote from Amani Hooker you just mentioned. But by the way, you just broke down the roster like a champ, man. But Amani Hooker said this: these guys have proven that he's talking about the corners. So they've got these veteran corners, Cheeto and L'Jarius Sneed at corner, and so veteran, lock them in, they're good. And he was kind of talking about that. He said, these guys have proven they can be in the right position to make the plays. And when I'm out there, I'm able to do my job now. And it reminded me of a conversation that Blaine and I had on 3HL a long time ago. And then it spilled over to, like, we ran into you in some random plays in Brentwood. But how challenging is it to play safety and to have everything in front of you, but always having to, like, you went through a time period where there was constant rotation of new players. Right? Like, so how challenging was that? Like, making sure this guy's doing his job, but also you're having to do your job. And I'm just curious, like, how how much easier is it going to be on Amani Hooker to have veteran players in front of him now?
I think the good thing, last year, he got to start alongside Kevin Byard, and then, that kind of changed around. There were some players there. I think the biggest thing when it comes to playing safety, and again, my best years is me playing alongside Chris Hope. We was able to start along for 4 years, and then after that, it just seems like every year it was like a different rotation, whether it was me and Damian Stafford, whether it was me and Robert Johnson, me and Jordan Babineau, me and Bernard Pollard. There was one game, Denora Cersei. All this is in a span of 4 years.
Yeah.
And I named a bunch of safeties.
Yeah.
And, George Wilson. The list went on, and I forgot his name. He came from Wyoming. I just forgot his name. But the list went on. It was every game. If coaches didn't like what somebody did or whatever, and then based on who came in the game was depending on whether I was going to play strong safety that week or whether I was going to play free safety that week. And based on formations, based on play calls, it was like never was like you got a rhythm. I don't know if people understand. My last 2 years, I was basically a strong safety just because of how they wanted to run the defense and things of that nature, which is why the interception numbers went down.
Yeah, people don't know that.
I was getting a lot of tackles.
Yeah.
Because I was basically playing strong safety. So, but it does, it messes with you, but at the same time, we're professionals, so you got to find a way to get the job done. But again, like I said, the best thing about the situation right now for him is that, he knows who his other starting safety is going to be, so that should allow things to happen. They're all learning a new defensive playbook together, which allows them all to work collectively together. And then also just getting to know your teammates through this off-season process, the workouts and things of that nature. That's the best time when you start building that chemistry. But again, it's not an excuse, but at the same time, it does affect you based on your play and knowing that if this person knows this or if he doesn't know that, or can he do this or can he not do this, or things of that nature. Because again, as you're trying to go through a game plan, the coach is like, okay, I'm not going to put it. You're trying to basically put the puzzle pieces together to say what's the best case scenario for us to win this ball game. And sometimes it puts you in a situation where, you haven't practiced it or it's just not. And so it's a lot of different things that go behind the scenes. But, again, I totally understand what he's saying. And, again, I wish him well. I think Molden's a great nickelback / safety also. So I think just having these guys back healthy and being able to work together and learn the playbook together, I think that's going to just allow them to understand and see everything the same way and understanding how they want to play things. I think that's a big thing when it comes to offseason and preparation.
Michael Griffin with us, former Titan safety. I could almost hear the freedom in that sentence from him. I can't wait to get out there.
By the way, the Wyoming guy, that was Quest Huff, right?
Marquess and Huff.
Yep.
Yes. I played it. And he was a safety with me one time, too. So that's what I said.
You had them all.
It was, I tell you what, when you asked me earlier, do I miss football? Do I miss the game? No. But
you don't miss those days, right?
Man, you're talking. You out there giving it all you got, and you just doing everything for the team. But it's just like, the hard. I think that made me miss it least is the fact of when you talk to. Like Jamal Charles, he's a really good friend of mine, and we play golf and we hang out together. All the Texas guys still hang out. Derek Johnson, Brian Arakpo, our kids go to school. So all of us Texas guys hang out, and you hear stories about other organizations and how things were, and you're just like, oh wow, that's how it was. Okay. I don't, and then you still remember having conversations with some of the guys like, do you remember this story? Remember this story? And you're just like, man, that was just. So I'm like, man, that just wasn't but again, it was a blessing. It's a blessing. You got to take everything that comes along with it. And I appreciate the Titans organization. I appreciate the Adams family, Miss Amy, very sweet young lady. And, very, very, she takes care of all the ex guys, the current guys. I mean, you have nothing but love and respect for her. And again, it's just all the way around. It might not been the best outcome when it comes to the fans and the players and things, but at the same time, it's a blessing to be able to put that uniform on and to be able to go out there in front of those fans and play a game that you love and them cheer you on. And those you never get that feeling ever again. I promise you. There's just no way to describe that feeling.
So this next question, Tyler from Springfield is actually on the line and wants to ask it, but I thought about it too because we've talked so much about the safety position in the NFL nowadays and how different it is. So what have you kind of seen with the evolution of your position now, 8 years later in the NFL?
Well, they do get paid a lot more now.
Dang it, right?
You pay attention to that, don't you?
They do get paid a lot. I'm sitting there like, wow. And I love it for them. But the biggest thing is that it's the small things. I know now, safeties can't come down and cut the offensive lineman. You have to hit them up high. Unfortunately, I saw one of my good friends, Quandre Diggs. He broke his a lower extremity. He broke a bone just trying to take on a block where he's just not big enough to take that block on. Yeah. But where you can hit the receivers now, I think now even I guess it called was it a drop hip tackle? I don't even know the whole. I just don't even know the whole dynamics of that. You just can't. I guess when you wrap up, you can't just let go or you can't bring your weight. I don't know exactly what it is. Maybe they're going to show the players, but it's just, I don't know. Just the evolution of the game, it just makes it kind of hard when it comes to the defensive players. But again, the difference is that they're teaching the younger players how to play it that way, which you have to learn to adapt being an older player, if that makes sense. I remember there was a lot of rules when I first got in the league, and then rules started changing, and I remember doing the appeal process, and they was just, hey, listen, you can't do it, that's fine. We're teaching everybody in college, and they're teaching everybody in high school these new rules. So it's part of the game. I mean, it's just the evolution of the world, everything changes. So but when I look at my position, I would say that they're not as big, more athletic. It's almost like you're taking your slower corners and moving them to the safety position. The safeties that were probably my size, you're kind of moving them to the linebacker position. Yep. And the linebackers that were back in those days are now going to your outside linebacker / defensive ends. And if you're 300-plus pounder, you play first down and you maybe come off a second and third. And sometimes you might not be in the game plan depending on what offense you're playing against. So it's the game is evolutionized to you're starting to see different physique and style players when you look at different positions.
Michael Griffin with us on 3HL.
Mike, you did a great job breaking that down, brother, and I love you for it, man. But it just means more, and y'all coming to the SEC.
Here it goes.
What do you think? What are your thoughts? Texas, y'all showed up and showed out for your welcoming to the SEC. Where do you see Texas finishing in this first year? Got a great program. Look like they ready. Y'all started 2 years out to get ready to come to the SEC. What are your thoughts on y'all rolling into the SEC?
Okay, how about I ask this question? Let me ask a question, because I asked this question because, they're like, nothing's like SEC football. And I say that most people who, the loudest man in the room is going to always be right because he's the loudest man in the room.
That's right.
He doesn't actually have to be right or be correct or whatever, but if he has the microphone, everybody's listening.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I asked the question, outside of two teams with maybe that third one that's always fluctuating between 3 to 4 teams, why is SEC football supposed to be the toughest conference.
Let me say this. Let me say this, Mike, and you let me know if I'm right or wrong. Outside of what you guys have been used to playing, whether it be going in the Red River Rivalry, y'all playing in Dallas, whatever it may be, if y'all occasionally have to go to Oklahoma and play over there, outside of you and Oklahoma, the atmospheres that the SEC bring, regardless of the top tier athletes that are in there from top to bottom, regardless where they finish. Yeah, hey, no, guess what? Hey, we ain't got no problem with who birth who. We just talking about who adopts who and takes care of the family. That's all I'm telling you.
All I'm saying, again, the loudest man you see you on 3, you on the radio right now. Everybody listen to everything. I totally get it. But again, and this is no disrespect to none of these teams, but at every conference there's the top tier, there's the mid tier, and then there's the tier that's on the bottom. It's just the ones that's on the bottom that you just don't even talk about. That is every conference is that way.
We only got one on the bottom though.
Who's the one on the bottom?
I don't think I don't really want to dog.
I mean, it's
I don't really
Vanderbilt.
want to dog
Yeah.
Vandy like that, but it's Vandy.
Okay, but what about South Carolina?
Dude,
What about South
Beavers
Carolina?
got 'em rolling.
2 years ago, y'all the ones stole players from them. Y'all poaching players with all that money down there in Texas, man.
South Carolina, y'all was the one running. Y'all went and got Spencer Rattler. Y'all
I know.
went to the Big 12.
Now, you know, I'm Tennessee all day now. Listen.
Okay.
You don't do the y'all
which
with
is
them.
the real UT.
But this
Oh, here
is
we
what I
go.
got to ask you, Mike,
Here we
before we
go.
leave.
Y'all ain't been the real UT since T. Martin.
Boy, and y'all ain't been to real Texas since Vince Young. Okay, but I'm just saying.
We didn't came close now.
Y'all definitely came close, man.
We didn't came closer. We didn't came way closer than Tennessee.
And if you hold a cigarette long enough, it'll burn your fingers just being close. But this is what I'm telling you.
Maybe not, but maybe not if you got an oven mitt on.
Let me ask you this. We got to bring up Taunton a little bit later in this. What are y'all going to do and how y'all going to handle it? We saw y'all basketball coach Rodney Terry come out and say, you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to do the horns down. You're not supposed to do that. We don't accept that. Are y'all going to be able to handle it? Are y'all going to be blindsided and distracted from the game?
You know what I'm happy though. I'm glad that like that y'all. It started out with like the OU and like Texas A&M, and I'm just glad all y'all just adapted it. I'm really, and now we here.
Yeah.
No, this is the thing. Though. This is what I'm gonna tell you. This is the last thing I'm gonna say.
All right.
Now that Texas has the SEC logo on their jersey, we're going to get way more respect just because of that SEC.
That's true.
logo.
That's a great point.
Absolutely.
Now all of a sudden, every year before the rankings even start, we're going to be a top 5 school, and we ain't got to win no games. So we're SEC school. You know what? Hey, I would like to tell y'all, thank you.
Welcome to the family, Mike.
Thank you. We are welcome to the barbecue. Finally.
Just means more.
It means everything in the world. When it comes to them voting those 12 teams in the college football playoffs, the first thing they gonna say is they play a harder schedule because they in the SEC.
That's true.
It don't matter. And it don't matter if we play Vanderbilt. It don't matter if we play Mississippi State.
Because it ain't Kansas and Oregon State or Oklahoma State, none of them. You playing against some real atmosphere and some real dogs.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you this now. I love my Texas Death, but listen, when we played Joe Burrow, now Sam gave that LSU team a run for their money. It was 50-50.
They did.
It was 50-50.
Slay money. All right, Griff. Hey, always great catching up. Here's a stat you can use, though, when you're talking to your boys about, hey, man, it just means more in the SEC. 5 different teams have won national champions in college football in the last 15 years. 5 different teams. So you got that.
I told you, it's 2 teams with the,
or
with,
5
with the other 3 to 4 that just hang in there. You throw Florida in there, LSU will come around. You Auburn will try to get in there. You know, y'all. It's always a 3rd team to slow. But guess what? Now we're the 2 team, either 1 or 2, and now you got to find the other 3rd team. Just so you know, remember
Auburn's coming.
Yeah, so are the Vols. Hey, we got to go because our producer. Hey, great visit, man. Really appreciate you doing this,
again,
brother, and glad you're doing well, man.
Hey, appreciate y'all. Hope all is well.
All right, there he is, Michael Griffin, former Titan safety. We'll be right back.